Yeah.
Today.
Good. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. Fighting these allergies, but we're gonna pull through. Um, all right. So just looking into it, getting myself a little familiar with the two of you. Obviously, we can see that you're in love, but you gotta be honest. Let's keep it 1,000. This is not the easiest type of relationship to get into. You guys got married while he was incarcerated. And what was the conversation looking like? The work that you guys were willing to do individually, because it's a lot, right? He's got to adjust to being out. There are parameters. What was the conversation that you guys had in preparation to come home to have a good foundation, to have a successful relationship?
I think the planning for him to come home, it was definitely, it was a lot on me. There was a lot of conversations I had privately with my children and a lot of conversations I had privately with myself. Um, I also did therapy while he was gone, just working on myself, trying to work out some of the things that I've been through personally, because I didn't want him to have to go through all of my traumas. There's some things I could work through. There's some things that take more time. I'm human. But I just think it was just having realistic expectations of what he was going to be able to do, not just like where he would be able to go or parole officers, but his mental state, his emotional well-being, trying to help him sift through some of the trauma that was created through jail and all of that. So I definitely think having realistic expectations of the person and being willing to want to support them and put them first, because when he came home, I can't put myself first. I can't, because he needs too much. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean it like he needs friendship and he needs stability and he needs someone to show him a different kind of way, because it's so easy to slip back into old habits. So you really need to be extremely strong and extremely supportive to be able to deal with, a tough guy like this.
Now, Justin, for you, I mean, she was married previously. Also, she has children, right? And it's, again, it's a lot, and and also dealing with your own situation. What work were you willing to do? And again, you're not. It's a package deal. It's not just her; it's her kids, and there's emotional involvement and understanding what your responsibility was, not just to her, but to them walking into that situation. What work did you do in order to say, hey, I want to show her, not just her, because, rightfully so, kids are going to be like, I'm not sure if you are the right person for my mom. You know what I
Of
mean? So
course.
what work were you willing to do?
Well, while I was incarcerated, Justine and I we spoke about a lot of different scenarios. One of them was me coming home and paroling to my own spot because I didn't want to invade in her home with the kids, and I didn't want my kids to feel like, well, who are these people? You know what I mean? So Justine was mingling with my children and stuff before I came out, which made it easier for that. But her kids only came up to see me a handful of times.
Mm-hmm.
And though we spoke on the phone a lot and stuff, I was there before. I had a stepdad. I didn't want him in the house. You know what I mean? No matter how good he treated my mother. So I just didn't want that to be the case. So I wanted us to have, our own apartments and stuff. And then as the years progressed, obviously 3.5 years later, I'm not gonna parole to my own spot. I've seen the kids a handful of times. I speak to them all the time. She comes up to see me all the time, and it's like, okay, well, this is the vibe. This is what we're getting now. I can't tell you how everything's gonna be when I get out because I'm not free. I don't know everything yet. But what I assured her was there was not gonna be no infidelity, and I wasn't gonna be deceiving her or stepping out on her after she sacrificed all that time to sit there and make sure that I made parole. Like she made sure I made parole, and I felt like I owed it to her. I'm like, I gotta come home, I gotta do right by her, and I gotta show her that her time is appreciated, not wasted,
I think a
you
big
know?
a big piece of him coming home and in the parole process being so easy, because we have had a really easy go of it. I feel like his parole officers, who I'm very well in touch with and know, they see a lot of stability in me. They, they see a foundation. They know, I don't get in trouble. I'm serious about my family, and I'm serious about Mike and making sure he stays out. I feel like that's why we've had such an easy go of it, because I mean, they know that there's stability here.
Another thing, just to insert, a lot of people would say, "Oh, you guys, you guys got married in prison. You didn't really know him," but they don't understand our timeline. See, when we got married, I was coming home a few months later.
Mm-hmm.
So Justine and I have already been together over 3 years. You know what I mean? So there was a lot of talking, a lot of learning, a lot of knowing, which is why we can communicate so well. We did it for so long. You know what I mean? It's like all I got to do is act like I'm on the phone and we're going to get it. So
We've
I
done that
just felt
before,
like,
though.
yeah, we have
We've gotten into
separated rooms.
situations where we've gotten into arguments and we're in separate rooms, and I'll go back into the app that we used to email on from jail, and I'll just write and screenshot it and then text it to him, and it'll bring us back to that time. Like, is this really that serious, or
Yep.
can we get through it?
Can we talk a little bit about family? I know your relationship with your mom is it's challenging, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a reality, and I think a lot of people can relate to that part, you know. Um, but I think not to excuse, you know what I mean? Because again, you're a grown woman, you can make your own choices, and while we can always respectfully disagree with people. We all don't agree with everything that our family does. Um, there is, concerns from people that love you and people that want you to be, not to say that he's a bad dude, but they're thinking bigger picture. We all as mom, you're a mom yourself, and you think
Mm-hmm.
of the ideal partner for your kids. We all have somebody in mind, we all look at as also a mother of a daughter where sometimes you're like, and
Mm-hmm.
I probably will tread what we're like. We're hoping she comes to the conclusion on her own. You know what I
Right.
mean? If it gets dicey, that's when I'll step in. Have you taken a minute to kind of like think about it? And again, not to say that at any time a person therefore has a right to disrespect you or to not validate your right to make your own choices. Have you taken a moment to kind of like look back and be like, hey, I can understand why some people are a little bit feeling trepidatious.
Personally, for me, like, I understand, like, and specifically with my mom, like, I understand where she's coming from. I mean, it's clear my decisions have not always been the best, but I will say, when it came to me dating Mike, clearly, my mom came in with me on the first drive to Pennsylvania from Rhode Island. She did not know why we were going to Pennsylvania whatsoever. I didn't tell her until we were pretty close, so we could not turn back, you know? So I feel like once she realized that I was serious about Mike, and she got to talk to him herself a few times, and she realized that, he really does care about me. Like, this isn't some kind of nonsense. I feel like she got more on board with Mike. I feel like she actually really does love Mike. I don't think she has any issue with Mike. I think that me and mom just clash heads over like past stuff, and maybe her and I are similar in some ways. Maybe she sees a little bit of herself in me. So we clash heads sometimes, but you know, I will say my mom is in town currently. She's here right now. We've been having a very nice time. So I feel like we're going in the right direction. I feel positive about it, and I'm excited to see where it goes. So, just going forward.
And Justin, for you, what do you want? I mean, again, as moms, we have our feelings, and I'm sure you being a dad, you have your feelings. But what is it that you're learning out of to experience? It's one thing to have this type of relationship where you meet someone, you're in a situation, she is living a life that is foreign to you currently, unavailable to you. And on top of that, it's on TV. It's a lot going on, right? And not only do you have people in your immediate circle, but the Twitter fingers be working. So, how do you make sure that you kind of like decompose and say, okay, yes, kind of separate the social world, the programming world, and make sure that you guys prioritize each other feelings and most importantly, the people that matter the most, which are your kids, and keep it sane because it can be a lot. You know what I mean? No one ever prepares you for the onslaught of 0 to 60 of having this virtual world invade your real world,
I feel like when we first started on the show, like season 1 and maybe into a little bit of season 2, I really used to get affected by comments. Like I would read it because I didn't want, he would always tell me, don't read comments, but I'm like, this is new. Oh shit. Sorry. I'm sorry about that.
I'm
I'm
like,
like,
don't read comments.
oh,
They
no, no.
people right. Don't read the comments because then you go down a rabbit hole.
Right. But then it's like, oh my God, this is so new to me. I'm on TV. Like I want to have the full experience. And so I would, I would cry, I would complain. I'd be like, Mike, do you think that's true? But then, by the middle of season 2, I'm like, yeah, right. Like I'm cool with that. So, at this point, it's just like, there's just a separation. Like there's my job. It comes with all this stuff. And then there's times when we're not working. So like even after we do these interviews here, this is coming off, my t-shirt's going on, I got a floor to wash, kids to give a bath, and regular life just resumes. But it's cool when we're in the house. I feel like I can just be Justine in the house, you know what I mean? And we've talked about this currently. Now it's like when we leave the house, it's like Justine and Mike stay home, and Juju and Mills, they go out. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's two different things, two different people. They come along with a lot of different things. So at this point, I think we're trying to figure out how to balance both of those without getting lost and without feeling like either of those people within inside of us are, being neglected.
For me, it's just separating fiction from reality, because everyone don't live in our reality, as simple as that, and everyone's entitled to their opinion. So once you understand that concept, nothing should bother you, because an opinion is, it's how you feel about something. We're not gonna like everything. We're different people. We've been through different things. We've experienced life differently. You know what I mean? So I don't fault anyone for saying stuff. I don't feed into it. It's like, it's just some things are ignorant. And some things are said with concern, because of people's experience. Hey, I dated a guy. He came home. He cheated on me. You might want to watch this guy. To her, that's great advice, because she's been in the negative side of that situation. The circumstances didn't play out the same. But for me, it was, I came home week 1. I paid child support. A lot of men can't say that. By the 3rd week, I was paying the rent she was living at. So I came home right into man mode. And Justine's done things for herself for so long that the hardest thing we've had to deal with is her not trying to be a man. You understand? Because
by default.
She's been, she wants to build things. She wants to screw things in. I'm like, no, that's not what you do. I understand it. I appreciate it. And it's encouraging to see a woman be that strong. But at the end of the day, a woman's supposed to play a woman's role.
Right. But a lot of women, speaking for myself included, we don't get that option. You know what I mean? We have fathers who aren't around. We have children who their fathers are not around, and they leave us with responsibilities. And it just morphs us into these people that are too strong, too tough, too masculine. It's like, I want to be feminine, but I was never given that opportunity.
What is it that you're learning through this process? Because again, we always say, as someone who's been married a long time, I always say we all plan the wedding, but no one prepares you for the marriage, right? There is like your first year getting adjusted, then that's like 5 years, and then especially if you've been with someone when you were really, really young, and then you learn your grown person voice, and then there's something that changes within us as women because of motherhood and different type of responsibility. What is it, the one thing that you want to learn, that you have learned through this process? Because again, marriage is a process, and all these different stages change, and God willing, we all grow and we learn to be better versions of yourself. So what is the one thing you would say that you've learned through this process as you're continuing to grow as a couple?
I think is accepting responsibilities for your action, not making excuses, admitting when you're wrong, and trying to understand the other's perspective. Because once again, you're living life through your perspective. But something that might seem minute to you might be a big deal to your significant other. So communicating and, hey, how do you feel about this? Are you sure? Could we do this? Could we do that? And that's really it. I think communication is key in anything. Friendship, marriage, anything. Communication is key. So once you have good communication and what's going to tick the other person, then you don't push those buttons. because you obviously have to tick the person off to understand how far you've gone. So we've gotten there. You know what I mean? And I don't like to see my woman hurt, and I like to take care of my woman. You know what I mean? I like to take care of my woman. So I want her to feel like, I have a real man, so that when a guy tries to give her flowers, she doesn't look at that like it's a big thing. Because shit, my husband gives me flowers all the time. You know what I mean?
I think for me, what I'm learning the most is, I've been in horrible relationship before, Michael. For me, I'm learning now to try to respond outside of my trauma. He is not him. And though maybe an argument could be similar or something like that, or we go through something similar, my response doesn't need to be what it was before. He's not the same. It's not the same man doing it. And though hurt is hurt, it's not the same. Like, respond to him, not to my trauma. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well, guys, thank you so much for your time. I wish you both the best of luck with your real life,
Thank
not the
you.
TV
Thank you.
stuff. And many blessings to you. And again, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.